Alright, Internet, here's the deal. Creality K1 Max, firmware issue, you need to go back, right? Can only go forward. In order to back it up to a previous version, you got to do some extra steps, right? It helps to have a good workspace. Lay it on its side. Notice I got the door down here so it can't flip open like a lot of people do. Take the little feet off. You don't need those right now. You take the 4 feet off. Try not to lose your screws. At this point, these 2 screws are your last 2. When you remove these, the plate may want to fall, so having a hand here can be helpful. Alright, now what I like to do, this is connected. Yeah, you could disconnect it, absolutely, or just lift up, slide it right there, done. Now right here, you have a micro USB port. That is for the firmware rollback. All right, what you want to do, you'll need a micro USB cable. It's important that this particular cable have the ability to do both power and data. A lot of micro USBs nowadays will only do power for charging. So look for power and data, right? Now on the shape, that part goes down, the little pins are pointing up. It's a bit of a tight fit. All right, so that's in there. Now, if you notice in the back there, I do not have the power cable plugged in the back at all. There's no power. When I plug this USB cable into my PC, on the PC side, okay. Once I plug this in, I'm going to raise the volume up a bunch, and I guess I'll pull up the device manager, make it a little more interesting for you. Device manager. Universal serial bus. Okay, let me adjust the camera to look over here. Okay, you may or may not be able to see this, but you should hear it. So the Windows detected it. Now I've already got the drivers installed, but I'll show you how. And if you notice over here on the main board, now you've got that blue light lit up. That's telling you that it's connecting through the USB. All right, now I'm on the github.com/crealityofficial K1_series_NX//releases/v1.0.0. This gives the step-by-step instructions of how to do the firmware rollback. All right, this is basically what I'm following for this guide. Because I've already set up this driver, I won't have other devices in Genic USB boot device. I've already done that step. However, all it was while I was in the device manager, the other devices popped up. I went over and right-clicked on it, updated the driver, pointed it to the cloner driver, and this part here is where it gets a little confusing for some people. Now that I've got that driver installed, the guide here says after it's in complete, double-click the flashing tool from the software package shown. It says Core EXE, but that's not actually the flashing package. So what you actually want to do is you actually want to run cloner, all right, which will pop up this. Now it says Core connected. I have the little box over here that shows me the firmware tool, and I'm going to load the image. Next step here, all right? Close this out of the way. So the image that I am loading is right here, which is the CR4CU220812.3.3.5.ingenic. All right, so we'll select that one. I'm going to say open. All right, now I've loaded it within the Flash software, and it's ready to do the next step. However, this is where some people have difficulties doing the next step. The next step here says select start, then on the main board simultaneously press and release the reset button and the boot button, following the same steps described above. So we're going to go up to the steps above, all the way up here. Move the screen just a little bit. And it says connect the computer to the main board using a micro USB cable as shown in the picture. Simultaneously press the boot button and the reset button on the main board as shown in the picture. Then hold them for 3 seconds. Release the reset button first, and then release the boot button. At this point, the system indicator light should be in a slightly lit state. When I come over here, looking at your point of reference, here's that USB micro cable that I plugged in. The reset button is the closest one, and the boot button is further away. Now it wants us to press them both, and then after 3 seconds, we release the reset button first, and then the boot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and let you see what it is, because this part gets people. All right, so it's all the way down here at the very bottom, down there. I'm going to reach in, and I'm going to hit them both. Now I'm going to let go of the reset, and then the boot. All right, so by doing that, that triggers whatever the mode is called that it needs to be in. I don't know the proper term, but I just know that's what works. I'm going to hit start. And I'm going to go over here and do that reset button, boot button. Now that I've done that, over here, you see right away it starts flashing. Now while this is going, it'll take a minute and go down to that next step after that. It shows you Purple shows you this. Says to reconnect the mainboard cables. Well, as you notice, I didn't do any disconnecting. I just unplugged the power. I left the power unplugged, right? It says after a successful burning, the system indicator light on the mainboard will start blinking intermittently. So if I go up here, system indicator light is close to Creality. Power light is further away. Now I'm done, finished writing. I'm going to come over to the printer, and the one closer to the Creality is blinking. It's done, right? So now at this point, all I got to do is disconnect the USB cable. It's off. Disconnect the cable from here. It is now flashed back to 1.3.3.5. I don't even have to put this on. I can plug the power cable back in and get the system turn on. Take a moment for it to boot, but not too awfully long, and it'll be just like as if you got it out of the box, right? It's going to want you to unscrew the mount points. It's going to want you to say what language. It's going to do its calibration and all that. In order to do the calibration, make sure you stand it up the normal way, put your bottom back on, put everything back on, put your rubber feet back on. But that's how you do the firmware rollback. Not too complicated.